In the 1980s, rock felt endless. MTV was still dangerous. Stadiums were full. Every weekend, there was a new band on late-night radio that sounded like they were about to take over the world. But here's the part nobody talks about. For every Bon Jovi, there were 10 bands standing right next to them on the same festival bill, same hair, same guitars, same tour buses, and they still disappeared. Some got one hit and were gone. Some got one live shot at the arena stage and never got invited back. Some were killed by timing, some were killed by the industry, some were killed by pure bad luck. And if you blinked, you missed them. This is the story of those bands, not the legends everybody knows, the almost legends. The names you saw once on Headbangers Ball at 1:40 in the morning, and then never again. The cassette you loved in '84 that your friends swore they remembered but nobody can find now. The group that had the sound, the look, even the chart position, and still got erased. In this video, we're gonna pull 10 of those bands back out of the dark and put them where they belong. Here's how we're doing it. First, we're gonna go back to the moment of impact. That one track, that one video, that one radio push where it felt like, this is it, they're about to blow. That's our entry point. Then we're going to show you what actually happened behind the scenes, the label pressure, the touring politics, the bad timing, the sudden tragedy, the stuff nobody saw from the outside. And finally, we're going to ask the question every real rock fan has asked at least once: how does a band this good just vanish without a trace? Because that's the crime here. Some of these bands weren't okay. They were legit. They were charting. They were opening for giants. They were on the edge of breaking wide, and the machine still chewed them up. By the end of this video, you're going to have 10 names, 10 songs, and 10 stories that prove rock history is not only about who won, it's also about who almost won. So plug in, turn the volume up. This is 10 Forgotten 80s, rock bands that vanished without a trace, and we start at number 10. Hags formed in Florida with a clean, melodic, hard rock sound, guitars up front, keys that sweetened the hook, and a chorus you could shout in a club parking lot. Rock and roll party in the streets felt like a small victory for every bar band that dreamed bigger. Airplay arrived. Tour offers followed. They were opening for giants, Ozzy, Judas Priest, ZZ Top, so the pipeline to the next level was real. Then the thing no band can plan for, a car crash in 1984. Guitarist Michael Osborne died. Singer-guitarist Bobby Barth was badly injured. In a moment, momentum stopped. The hair metal wave that would have fit them perfectly broke without them. You can't replace time, and you can't rewind fate. Why they matter? They proved that Radio Ready didn't need to mean empty. Acts had songs, not just style. If you only know the single. Go spin Jennifer and Silent Soldiers and hear the band they were becoming. Engagement, where were you when you first heard Party in the Streets? Late night radio or early MTV?
Hey, Rocklore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow, you're becoming a member of the Rocklore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
Out of Phoenix with a Capitol Records logo on the back of the sleeve, already a good sign. The self-titled debut landed on the Billboard 200 and On Your Feet sounded like a band that could live on both metal shows and mainstream rock playlists. The video had that early MTV grit, tight shots, leather, confidence. Then the label Calculus started more polish, change this tone, chase that chorus, switch this member. You don't notice the drift at first, but fans do. The edge that made Icon feel dangerous got sanded, lineup changes, 8 rehearsal time, and trust. By the time the sound they were chasing became radio standard, Icon had lost first mover energy.
Don't matter what the critics say, you like it loud.
Why They Matter. Underneath the push and pull, Icon wrote sturdy rock songs that still punch live. If you want the purest dose, play the debut front to back. Engagement. Does label polish help a heavy band or kill what makes it special? Portland kids with LA ambitions, stadium-sized hooks, and a chorus that felt built for Friday night. Hold On to 18 was the right song at the right time. Anthemic, young, shamelessly catchy, and MTV noticed. For a minute, it looked like they'd slide right onto the same highway as Rat and Poison. Here's the quiet truth about that era. There were more good-looking, hook-heavy bands than there were open radio slots. Black and Blue did the work, records, tours, follow-ups, but the mainstream never claimed them as one of ours. They got stuck in the tight space between cult favorite and household name. Why They Matter. They're a snapshot of the scene's middle class. Bands that could headline theaters, crush support slots, and deliver real songs. Check School of Hard Knocks and Miss Mystery to hear the range beyond the hit. Engagement. Do you think timing or branding kept them a tier below the headliners? Built around keyboard ace Greg Giuffria, ex-Angel, this band leaned into glossy AOR, big keys, bigger emotion, and precision vocals. Call to the Heart didn't just buzz, it charted top 20 in the US. That's not cult, that's primetime radio. For a moment, Giuffria felt like the bridge between arena rock and pop balladry that wins over everyone, but the lanes were shifting fast. Harder bands went heavier, pop rock went sleeker. After the second record, the label weather changed. Radio drifted, Greg pivoted to House of Lords. The name Giuffria faded, even if the songwriting chops didn't. Why They Matter. They proved that keyboards weren't the enemy of rock. They were a power tool when used with taste. Beyond the hit spin Do Me Right or Lonely in Love, and hear how carefully those choruses are built. Are you team keys belong in rock or keep it raw and guitar driven?
We do it every day for every...
Right place, right friends, right riff. A demo lands with David Lee Roth. A Van Halen tour slot appears, and suddenly Autograph is in front of arenas. Turn Up the Radio is a near-perfect 80s rock single. Instant hook, clean production, chorus you can shout with a mouthful of gas station coffee at 1 a.m. The upside of a giant single is obvious. The downside is cruel. The song becomes bigger than the band. Follow-ups chart, but not like that. Radio keeps the one anthem in heavy rotation and lets the rest slide. Labels want a sequel, the public only wants the original. Momentum cools even as the track becomes immortal. Why They Matter. Autograph is the case study in how a forever song can shadow its creators. Don't stop at the hit. Try My Girlfriend's Boyfriend Isn't Me and Send Her to Me, and you'll hear the muscle underneath the gloss. Engagement. Do you count them as a one-hit wonder, or does their catalog earn them more respect?
This video is sponsored by The Lore Store on Amazon, your one-stop shop for music lovers across reggae, rock, pop, and hip-hop. We built it for real listeners who don't want to dig through 1,000 listings to find the right gear. Inside The Lore Store, you'll find 5 aisles. VIP, top, battle-tested essentials. headphones, turntables, speakers, gig-safe earplugs, smart speakers. Reggae vibe, roots and lovers. Rock made easy, automatic decks, warm bookshelf speakers, vinyl care. Rock lore, classic rock must-haves, open back cans, simple amps, living room concert vibes. Pop lore, feel-good everyday setups, clean, clear speakers, easy streaming, nostalgia-friendly picks. Hip-hop must-haves, punchy bass without the muddle, closed-back headphones and living room systems that handle low end, plus a rotating crate of old album vinyl if you're rebuilding a 60s-90s collection. Every product page tells you who it's for, 3 pros, 1 con, and why we picked it. So you can choose with confidence. Flying soon? Check. VIP for noise canceling that tames plane roar. Mostly listening at home? Try open-back headphones that let live albums breathe. Want instant gratification vinyl? Our fully automatic turntable is 1 button from silence to music, and the record cleaning kit knocks down crackle so the bass tightens up. Headed to shows? Grab high-fidelity earplugs. Hands-free at home? Our smart speaker picks let you say, play 70s reggae or classic pop, and you're there. Deal alert! If you use the link in the description, you'll land on our curated picks with current best available Amazon pricing and active discounts where applicable. Prices change, so buy now to lock in today's deal. Tap the link in the description, pick your aisle, grab a favorite, and tell me which category you want me to build next. The Lore Store. Listen better, with gear that gets out of the way and lets the music live.
Picture this, early 1980s rock is still ruled by American FM radio and British heavy metal. Almost nobody in the US is looking at a Dutch hard rock band and thinking, yeah, that's gonna break top 40. But Vandenberg changed that. The band formed around guitarist Adrian Vandenberg, a guy with real melodic taste. Not just fast, emotional. Their debut album, simply called Vandenberg, drops in 1982.
It's the hearts after all this time. This burning heart.
It's lean, no nonsense, all about big guitar tone and strong hooks. And then comes Burning Heart. Burning Heart is not a party song, it's not a girls' cars whiskey song. It's a power ballad with actual sadness in it, that aching, slow, empty room feeling. Somehow in 1983,
Hearts after all this time. This burning heart.
this song sneaks into the US charts and lands in the Billboard Hot 100 Top 40 for a Dutch hard rock band. That's crazy. That does not happen all the time. Here's the point, Vandenberg weren't supposed to make it onto American radio, but they did. Question for you, be honest, did you know Burning Heart?
After all this time.
But you didn't know it was by a band literally called Vandenberg? Once Burning Heart hits, doors open, rock mags start paying attention, US labels start paying attention, Vandenberg starts getting real tours. The band looks like they're about to break into that level where you go from cult favorite to MTV regular. Adrian Vandenberg becomes the face. The camera loves him. He's this European guitar hero who can shred, but he also knows how to write an actual song regular people want to sing. That combination is deadly in the 80s. And
When you play the game of love.
in other words, the brand Vandenberg is working, then something happens that kills a lot of bands in this era, the talent drain. Bigger bands are always scouting, Whitesnake comes calling, Adrian Vandenberg gets pulled into that machine. He goes on to co-write and play with Whitesnake, a band that does go fully global. Good for him, bad for the original band called Vandenberg. Without that core writer, the band never hits the same peak again. They don't become a permanent
Does it feel the same when he calls?
radio name in America. They don't get to grow into arena headliner status under their own name. And this is where the story hurts. The song Burning Heart lives. The band called Vandenberg doesn't really live in most people's memory.
All this time, you still hold my.
Ask yourself, do you count that as a win or an injustice? If your guitarist graduates to a giant band, but your band loses its shot, did you succeed or did you get robbed? In 1988, this band shows up like a punch to the face. Kingdom Come comes out of nowhere with a debut album that moves fast. Radio stations are obsessed with the single Get It On. Rock DJs are spinning it on repeat. The band is getting big stage bookings. The record ships gold in the US off pure hype. That kind of fast launch almost never happens unless the label thinks you're the next big thing. So at first glance, this looks like a fairy tale rock story. First album, instant success, straight to the big leagues. Here's why people were hooked. Get It On sounded huge. Thick drums, big bluesy groove, swagger vocals. It felt classic and modern at the same time. Fans who loved 70s hard rock heard it and said, finally, someone brought that back.
Young and there is love to share.
And Kingdom Come leaned into it. They had the look, they had the stage presence, and they had confidence. They weren't playing like an opening act. They were playing like a headliner already. For about 5 minutes, it felt like this band wasn't just going to be big. It felt like they were going to be the next big radio hard rock band going into the 1990s. Then came the backlash. Very fast, people started saying they sound too much like Led Zeppelin, not inspired by Zeppelin, straight up copying Zeppelin. That label stuck to them in every article, every review, every interview. The story became clone band, not great band. That is deadly. The rock scene in the late 80s was brutal about credibility. If fans felt like you were fake, that was it. And instead of people talking about their songs, everybody was arguing about whether they were just doing Zeppelin. The sad part, the hate storm killed the momentum. Kingdom Come's identity got defined by the argument, not by the music. The hype turned into a joke, and fast. Let me ask you this, if you sound a lot like a legendary band, should that be a crime? Or should we say, hey, at least someone's still doing it right? Drop your take in the comments. Clone, bad, or shut up and rock. Late 80s glam metal is mostly dudes, leather pants, teased hair, lipstick, neon, same look, different logo. Then here comes Femme Fatale. Fronted by Lorraine Lewis, Femme Fatale walks into 1988 with a self-titled debut on MCA Records. This is not some tiny label. This is not we recorded in a garage and sold cassettes at the bar. This is major label backing in the middle of the glam era. And MTV notices their single, Waiting for the Big One, gets a real music video, and it actually gets rotation, not one play at 3 a.m. Real rotation. That alone put them in rare air because, again, female-led hard rock metal bands weren't getting the same shot. The music itself, Hook City, the chorus sounds like pure late 80s Hollywood strip, high energy, catchy, built to scream along with. Sonically, they could sit on a bill with Poison. With Warrant, with Lita Ford, and not get embarrassed. Industry-wise, everything is pointing forward. They're positioned for a second record. That's the point where a band usually jumps from promising to established, and you can literally feel the story being set up. The band name is Femme Fatale. The single is Waiting for the Big One. You can hear the headline writing itself. The big one just arrived. But the timing turns on them. By 1989, 1990, labels start to cool on glam metal. Too crowded, too many sound-alike bands. Radio is getting numb, and something darker is brewing in the underground. A shift toward heavier, dirtier, less pretty rock. The wave that will turn into grunge. So instead of getting their second full run, Femme Fatale gets stalled. This is important. They didn't disappear because they were bad. They disappeared because the industry window literally closed while they were stepping through the door. So I want you to answer this in the comments. When a band is this close and doesn't get the second album push, do you call them forgotten or do you call them robbed by timing? Which word feels more fair? If you were sick of pretty hard rock by '89, Hags were your band. They came out of San Francisco with a dirtier, blues-soaked, street-level sound. Imagine blues rock swagger mixed with junkyard sleaze. Not polished glam, not happy party Sunset Strip. More like, we smell like oil and cigarettes and you're still coming with us. That attitude got attention. Chrysalis Records signed them. That's a real label, not a joke. And it wasn't just the label. They brought in Mike Klink to produce. The same producer tied to some of the biggest hard rock records of the late 80s. That means the industry thought, there's something here. This could go big. The self-titled album Hags drops in 1989. The track Half the Way Valley becomes the standout, a swaggering, bluesy, slightly unhinged rocker that sounds like a band that could open for Guns N' Roses and not look scared. And they did start getting real tour shots, including in Europe. You could feel the path. First cult buzz, then rock press, then bigger stages. It's the classic climb. This is the part where, in most rock movies, the narrator says, and then they blew up. But this is not that movie. Inside the band, it's chaos, addiction, lineup changes, stress, drama, the stuff that kills bands before they even get to album 2. They split soon after the debut, tried to pull it back together, then tragedy hits. Bassist and founding member Chris Schlosshart dies in 1991. That's the point where the story stops being what's next and becomes this is all you get. Hags became one of those names real rock heads trade like a secret. Yo, you ever heard this band from '89 that should have been huge? Casual fans have no clue. Serious fans say, oh my God, yes. So here's the engagement question. Which is more rock and roll to you? Surviving long enough to become big, or burning out so fast that you leave behind a single cult record people still whisper about 30 plus years later?
Hey, rock lore community. Before we continue, let's have a real talk for a second, bro. You know, this isn't just a channel to us. And I hope it's not just a place you come to watch a video and then forget about it. This is a community. It's a place where we get to dig up the secrets of rock and roll, share our favorite riffs, and celebrate the artists who maybe didn't get the love they deserved. Right now, only about 1% of our viewers are subscribed. We can change that together and grow this community. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on. When you do, you're not just helping a channel grow, you're becoming a member of the Rock Lore family. You're signaling to us and to YouTube that these stories matter, that this music is worth preserving, and that this community is a place you want to be. Subscribing is your way of making sure you're always in the loop. It means you'll be the first to know when we unearth a forgotten legend, drop a new countdown, or dive into a piece of rock history you've never heard before. So if you're a true fan of the lore, if you get that same feeling of discovery that I do, then come join us. It takes 1 second to be a part of something bigger.
All I need is my baby girl to bring it on home to me. I just need a
Now we get to the band that on paper should have been unstoppable. Blue Murder forms in the late 80s led by John Sykes, the same John Sykes who played with Whitesnake. Add in Carmine Appice on drums, a legend in hard rock and heavy music, Tony Franklin on bass, and producer Bob Rock behind the board, who was known for making rock records sound massive. This is not a garage band, this is an all-star roster. Their debut album, Blue Murder, comes out in 1989.
headache coming my way. Angel.
From day one, it's treated like an event. The single Jelly Roll hits rock radio and lands on Billboard's album Rock Tracks chart. The band gets real touring slots, including with Bon Jovi. Guitar magazines push them hard. Press is talking about them like, okay, this is the next monster hard rock act. The sound backs it up. The record is big, glossy, confidently heavy.
Take me any way you choose. Heartache.
But still melodic. It feels like late 80s arena rock right before the crash. You listen to Jelly Roll, you hear an actual hit. You hear a chorus that should have crossed over bigger. You hear a band that sounds like it already belongs on the big stage, not a band begging to get there. Here's the twist. Even though rock radio showed love, the overall sales didn't explode to the level the label wanted. The debut peaked on the Billboard 200, but it didn't go nuclear. And in this era, pretty good wasn't enough.
I just need a loving each and every day.
You were either going platinum fast or you were labeled a disappointment at the same time. The timing was brutal. The wave was about to turn. By the very early 90s, the industry mood is shifting toward grunge, darker tone, less glam, less flash. It's not that Blue Murder weren't good. They were too late for a certain style of big rock star marketing. So what you're left with is this almost embarrassing truth.
Coming my way. Angel. Feel like my
One of the most qualified hard rock bands of the late 80s becomes, in the general public's memory, basically a footnote. The journey doesn't end here. Rock Warrior. Watch this next.